walk around Dorchester, you are, of course, nearly wherever you are somewhere where you are part of one of the stories by Thomas Hardy. Now, he wrote a wonderful short story called The Withered Arm. And in this story, a beautiful young woman called Gertrude marries a farmer a little further down the valley of the River Frome, and they're very happy. And then, for reasons which are explained in the story, but would take too long for me to go into now, Gertrude's arm begins to shrivel and wither. And she's very concerned and alarmed by this, and she tries everything she can to stop this process. Ointments, lotions, potions. If she'd had them, she would have tried they patches. Nothing happens. In the end, so desperate is she that we read that Hardy says she goes off to see Conjurer Trendle in the vastness of Egdon Heath, who knows all the old folk remedies. Having found his house, he looks at her arm and he says, "There's only one cure for that, ma'am. You're gonna have to turn your blood." And Gertrude says, "Well, how do I do that?" "You're gonna have to touch that arm to the neck of someone what's just been cut down after a hanging." Gertrude, desperate for a cure, keeps her eye on the paper. Reads there's to be a public execution in Dorchester, or as Hardy calls it, Casterbridge. She comes into town, she lodges at the White Hart, and of an evening she comes along by the river to make the arrangements for touching the body with the hangman. The hangman's climbing up the steps to the room upstairs where he sleeps. Gertrude says to him, "I understand there's to be a hanging tomorrow." "That's right, ma'am, if he don't get no reprieve." Gertrude whispers to herself, "I hope he doesn't." But hangmen have big hands and enormous ears, and he heard what she said, and he laughed the way hangmen laugh. "Ha ha 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 ha! We'll see about that." Now, I could tell you the end of the story, because there are only 2 pages left, but that would spoil it entirely for you. You'll have to read it. The Withered Arm by Thomas Hardy, in a collection of short stories called Wessex Tales. Ooh, the Hangman and the Hangman's Cottage.